Today we will talk about the new Necromancer essences, and I already got the offhand one and we will test it today. Unfortunately, not all of the Necromancer essences are going to be used, but we will talk about all of them. First, let's start with the new offhand essence because I mentioned it on yesterday's build video, and I recommended it to you instead of the prong essence. Now let's compare them. So the new essence is called Corrosive Slab or something like that, and at Mastery level 4, Command Golem also makes nearby enemies vulnerable, causing them to take 15.2% increased damage. I think this is the new best offhand essence you can use for dungeons and raids with the Soulfire mages, because everyone in your party is going to benefit from the debuff, which makes the perfect Command Golem essence to use with the Poison Golem. When you use both of them together, you and your team get 25.2% increased damage on the enemies. The other 10% comes from the Pleasant Venom essence. And I did a little test comparing it with the Prong essence. Let's check that out. With the new essence I did 1.6 million damage per second, and with the prong I did 1.5 million. So even our damage is better with the new one. And like I said, everyone in your party will benefit from that debuff, so that makes the perfect essence for dungeons and raids. If you are curious about the build I am using, I just made a video about it yesterday and I will leave a link to that in the pinned comment. Now let's check out the other new essences. Let's start with the new main hand essence. Bone Spear also destroys enemy armor for 3.2 seconds, increasing the critical hit damage they take by 20%. Which sounds great, but I can't really use it with my current dungeon build since both main and slots are kinda unchangeable. Maybe we can come up with a specific build that works around this and primary attacks, then maybe it can be nice. After that we have a Pants essence. Bone armor also increases critical hit chance by 14%. In the patch notes they said it was 20%, but it turns out it's 14% at Mastery level 4. Well, everyone went a little bit crazy about this essence, and just like the main hand essence, to use this you need to create a build around it, because it doesn't really work with my current PvE or PvP builds. Especially in PvP, to use this one you need to give up on the fear effect on raid form, but like I said, with the builds revolving around this and the new main hand we can come up with some fun stuff. Hey, I am Future Habo, editing the video. Actually this essence kinda works with this build and I will link it down below. Next we have our chest essence. Bone armor now grants you and your summons a vortex of ice and bone that moves with you, damaging and chilling nearby enemies. Well, this won't be useful for PvE and we don't really use summons in PvP, so it looks like this essence is not going to be used much. And this one is quite interesting, the new shoulders essence. Skeletal mage damage is increased by 15.2% for each harmful effect the enemy suffers from, up to a maximum of 60.8%. This might be better than our current shoulder essence for dungeons and raids, but I will be testing this for sure when I get it. And lastly we have an helm essence. Common skeletons now summons rotting zombies that damage and slow nearby enemies. Well, again, not very useful for PvE, and for PvP we don't really use summons, so I'm not seeing this one getting used much. But we might try to create a summon build with the new essences to see how they perform. And that's all the new essences we got for Necromancer. They are not that crazy, but we have some interesting ones, and I think we already tested the most important one, but when I get the others I will test those as well. That's all for this one. Thank you for listening and take care.